This is the new Bugatti Mistral. It's one of the most expensive roadsters ever made, and it could be the fastest open-top car ever built. It's also the swan song for Bugatti's iconic W16 engine. But the big question is it faster than the brand new Hennessy Venom F5 Roadster? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this new Bugatti, because I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Buy, sell,
Car Wow.
Why is this new Bugatti Mistral a big deal? Well, it's the last road car that Bugatti will ever build that will be powered exclusively by a quad-turbo W16 petrol engine. Mate Rimac recently confirmed that Bugatti's next-generation hypercars are going to be hybrids.
Rimac will be all electric, Bugattis will be hybrid. All future Bugattis that we currently plan will have a combustion engine.
And he should know. He's been calling the shots ever since Bugatti and Rimac merged to form a new joint company back in 2021. The Mistral is also really important because it's the first open-top car Bugatti has made since the Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse, and that's 10 years old now. It's hard to believe, but every single car since then has come with a fixed roof. And yes, I'm counting all the special editions like the Chiron Pure Sport, the Super Sport, the Divo, and even the Cento Dieci. Speaking of which, you can think of the Mistral as a compilation of Bugatti's greatest hits from the last decade. The front definitely takes some inspiration from the Divo. The bonnet is a bit smoother and doesn't have the same central vents, but the intakes either side are pretty much identical. The Mistral's horseshoe grille is bigger than the one on the Divo though. Now it's large enough to provide all the air the front radiator needs without needing help from the two outer intakes. This means those intakes can blow all their air through the intercoolers for the car's 4 massive turbochargers, and I'll tell you more about them in a bit. Another big difference is the Mistral's new headlights. The Divo has 2 C-shaped daytime running lights with a strip at the base for the main beams. The Mistral has 4 horizontal bars on each side, a bit like tiny Venetian blinds. Bugatti say they're supposed to reference the car's 4-wheel drive and 4 turbochargers. Now that sounds a little bit like marketing speak to me, but these bars hide vents that blow air into the wheel arches and down the sides of the car to reduce drag, so they do serve a purpose. Don't go thinking this car is all about hardcore aerodynamics like the Supersport 300 Plus or the Divo. There aren't any additional fins and flaps down the side of the Mistral like you get on other Bugattis, for example. It looks much smoother and simpler. It's actually quite a subtle design. In a Chiron, the intake behind the doors feeds air into the engine and the oil coolers, but the Mistral only uses this air to cool the engine oil, so the intakes can be smaller. Another feature that caught my eye is the crease at the bottom of the door. It kinks upwards towards the rear wheel and looks similar to a line on the McLaren 720S, especially when you look at the car from the back. Something else you'll notice at the back is the Mistral's huge X-shaped taillights that were inspired by the Bugatti Bolide. That is a track-only hypercar that started as a one-off, but Bugatti has since said it does now plan to put it into production at some point. Anyway, the triangular gaps between the lights and the bodywork produce a low pressure area that sucks hot air away from the Mistral's engine and gearbox. But this car's upgrades are more than skin deep. Bugatti could have taken the carbon fibre monocoque from a Chiron and simply cut off the roof. Carbon fibre is handy like that. It's so strong that you don't have to have loads of bracing like when you make a convertible out of a steel or aluminium monocoque. But just cutting the roof off would have been too easy. Instead, Bugatti made the far more expensive decision to redesign whole sections of the car's carbon fibre monocoque. He did all this to make sure the Mistral silhouette looked just right. I think they did a brilliant job. It looks absolutely amazing. But what do you think? Is this the best looking car Bugatti has ever made? Or do you think the Supersport 300 Plus is even cooler? I'll put a pinned comment below so you can actually cast your vote. Anyway, back to the Mistral and its all-important roof, or lack thereof. A big problem with some drop tops is to make sure the protecting roll bars don't look like an afterthought. You can get away with some shiny metal hoops on something like an Audi TT, but that would look tacky on a Bugatti. Most car makers try to integrate these bars into the bodywork, like the ones on the McLaren 765 LT Spider, but that still looks a little bit weird. Bugatti has designed the Mistral in a completely different way, using an idea it developed for the Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse. Rather than have a pair of solid humps behind the seats, Bugatti decided to use the car's air intakes as structural elements to protect the occupants if the car flips on its roof. Each intake is strong enough to support the weight of the entire car. Having the air intakes behind your head also means that you get to fully enjoy the sound of the Mistral's W16 engine. Annoyingly, Bugatti hasn't released any sound clips yet, but it has said that it's essentially the same engine as you get in the Supersport 300 Plus, so it should sound something like this. If you want to see me try and max out a Chiron Supersport on the Autobahn, click on the pop-out banner which should be appearing in the top right-hand corner of your screen now. If you can't see it, there's also a link in the description. Anyway, the Mistral's 8-litre quad-turbo W16 engine makes 1600 horsepower and 1600 newton meters of torque, just like the Supersport 300 Plus. All this is sent to all four wheels through the same 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox and four-wheel drive system that car has. So, what about performance? Well, Bugatti has been pretty cagey about this as well, but it has said that it wants the Mistral to be the fastest roadster ever made. Bugatti's previous record holder is the Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse, which topped out at 254 miles an hour. But that's not the only record the Mistral has to beat. Koenigsegg smashed the Vitesse's top speed in 2017 with the 1,360 horsepower Agera RS. That clocked up almost 278 miles an hour on a closed highway in Nevada. But this new Mistral has 1,600 horsepower. That's 240 horsepower more than the Agera RS, so it should have no trouble beating that car's record. Right? Well, it turns out there is an even bigger problem on the horizon. It's called the Hennessy Venom F5 Roadster. Yes, Hennessy has built a brand new roadster version of its insane Venom F5 coupe hypercar. And not only that, they released it one day before Bugatti launched the new Mistral. Talk about stealing someone's thunder. Anyway, that car is almost mechanically identical to the standard Venom F5 Coupe. They use the same carbon fibre chassis, most of the same body panels, and they have the same 6.6 litre twin-turbo V8 engine. That means it makes 1,817 horsepower and 1,617 newton meters of torque. That's 217 more horsepower than the Mistral and a smidge more torque. Now, if you want to see what that sort of power feels like, click on the pop-out banner which will be appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen, or follow the link in the description to watch my full in-depth video review of the Hennessy Venom F5 Coupe. It's one of the most insane cars I've ever driven. So which one of these cars is going to be the fastest? And which one is going to accelerate the quickest? Well, when it comes to acceleration, you can't forget about weight. And this is where things look even worse for the Bugatti, because it isn't just down on power, something you don't say very often, but it's also heavier. Now, Bugatti haven't said exactly how much the Mistral weighs, but the track focus Chiron Pure Spur weighs the best part of 2 tons. The Venom F5 Roadster only weighs 1,405 kilos, and Bugatti isn't going to lose half a ton just by cutting off the roof. That said, neither Bugatti nor Hennessy have declared either acceleration times or top speed of their cars. There is, however, a cryptic mention in the Mistral's press release which says that the interior and the dials were designed so all information is easily visible at up to 420 kilometers an hour. That sounds like Bugatti is aiming for a top speed of around 261 miles an hour. Hennessy is still testing the F5, but it reckons the coupe will do more than 311 miles an hour. Does this mean that the Roadster could crack 300? Well, we'll have to wait and see what numbers the Hennessy can actually deliver. Back to the Bugatti, and there will only be 99 Mistrals built. Well, I say only, that's actually pretty common for a Bugatti. After all, it's only made 60 Pursports, 40 Divos, 30 Supersport 300s, 10 Cento Diec's, and 1 Voiture Noire. That said, Hennessy is only going to build 30 Venom F5 Roadsters. That makes it 3 times more exclusive than the Mistral. But despite all that, you do get one thing in the Mistral that you can't get anywhere else, and that's the last non-hybrid quad-turbo W16 engine that will ever go into a road car, and you can't put a price on that, can you? I'm only kidding, of course you can. The new Bugatti Mistral costs the equivalent of £4.2 million, and that's before tax. And just like all Bugatti special editions, the entire production run is already sold out. Anyhow, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know some other videos you'd like to see. And click on those windows there to watch some more videos. And if you click on that box there, you can get a car wow, and we will help you sell your car. Just upload some photos, give a brief description, and our dealers will bid on your car to make sure you get a great price for it. Thanks for watching.